My name is S. Ondo Governor hours after Akeredolu's death. APC Chieftain claims Tinubu discarded Wike's plot of becoming the Jagaban of rivers. Shettima arrives Plateau over bandit attacks. Miyetti Allah condemns Plateau killings. Details now. The acting governor of Ondo State, Lucky Orimiso Aiyedatiwa, has officially been sworn in as the new governor of the state. Aiyedatiwa was sworn in at the governor's office barely 24 hours after the death of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu on Wednesday, December 27, 2023. Meanwhile, an aide to late Rotimi Akeredolu, the immediate past governor of Ondo State, tendered his resignation, citing unwavering loyalty to his departed, fearless and honest leader. Dari Arabai, who served as both head of service and special advisor on union matters and special duties during Akeredolu's tenure, stepped down on Wednesday, December 27, 2023. In a letter addressed to the Secretary of the State Government, Arabai said his resignation is based on the unfortunate death of his principal. He expressed his heartfelt gratitude for the opportunity to serve in the governor's administration. Meanwhile, former spokesperson for the defunct New People's Democratic Party and All Progressives Congress Chieftain Chukwuemeka Eze has disclosed that the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike is no longer relevant in the politics of Rivers State and Nigeria at large. Eze insisted that the dream of Wike to become the Jagaban of Rivers State is over. He argued that people are now aware of Wike's tactics and those who choose to work with him do so at their peril. Speaking via a statement on Tuesday, Eze alleged that President Tinubu and his team strategically plotted the peace accord to rubbish Wike's plan to become the Tinubu of Rivers State. The former PDP spokesperson argued that it isn't possible for Tinubu, a known Democrat, to turn his back against the Nigerian constitution and the good people of Rivers State just to massage Wike's ego. Eze insisted that Tinubu was aware that no reasonable governor would implement any of the conditions in the peace agreement. The politician warned Wike that Rivers can never be Lagos, adding that his recent actions brings to an end his dream and vision of becoming the landlord of Rivers State. He said, and I quote, "Wike is no longer relevant as far as politics of Rivers State and Nigeria at large is concerned, as most of his antecedents are now well known to all and sundry, and whoever that decides to work with such a character does so at his or her own peril." End quote. Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived at the Yakubu Gowon Airport in Jos Plateau State capital over the recent attacks on some villages in the north central state. The Vice President was received by the Plateau State Governor Caleb Muftwang, the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa, and other security chiefs. Shettima is expected to assess several communities in Bakas and Barkanladi local government areas of the state that were attacked by bandits on Christmas Eve, resulting in the death of over 190 persons and the destruction of several houses. VOP News gathered that the gunmen launched the attacks on the residents of two local government areas from Saturday till about 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Meanwhile, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria (MACBAN) has condemned the resurgent violence and bloodbath in Bakas local government area Plateau State, which claimed many lives. The national president of MACBAN, Alhaji Baba Uthman Ngazarma, condemned the killings in a statement issued today in Abuja. He said the intolerance that is fanning this circle of violence must be stopped by the federal and Plateau State government. This act of barbarism by the actors must be condemned by all, irrespective of religious or ethnic affiliations. Uthman Ngazarma said the association supported President Bola Tinubu in his directives to the security agencies to fish out the culprits and bring them to book. He also thanked the president for his directive that relief materials be distributed to the victims. Uthman Ngazarma enjoined the Plateau State government to consider and include pastoralists among the beneficiaries of the relief materials. According to him, pastoralists were the greater victims of the calamity. Now, to talk about this and more issues on the World News at 6, I actually have the telephone, a legal practitioner, a social and political affairs commentator, and that is Barrister Eze Eluche. Barrister Eze Eluche, good evening and welcome to the World News at 6.
Thank you very much for having me on board.
All right, thank you, Barrister Ezra Eluchi. Barrister Ezra, let's talk about the killings in Plateau State. It's quite important that we look at the situation in Plateau State as intricately as possible. Now, this is the scenario, okay? A few months ago, we saw a massive death spike in Mangu local government area in Jos Plateau State. Up till now, we haven't heard of the apprehension of those who perpetrated this crime. The federal government said they would, but that hasn't happened. Now, on Saturday up until Christmas Eve, Barrister Ezra Eluchi, let me tell you how many communities, 23 communities, 17 local government areas in Bakos local government area in Jos Plateau State. These people took their time, burned houses, burned farmlands, macheted women, children, young men in these communities, and they left. Up till now, we've not even seen if there is any strategic formation that has been sent to Plateau State to not just only investigate, but possibly see how they can get a facial description of any of those individuals that came into the community. After that situation happened, we heard the state governor, Caleb Muftwang, he actually granted some interviews on some television stations, channels, and Arise TV. Afterwards, he came to Lagos to visit President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. All the while, these people, the relatives of those who died and the community members who witnessed the death of these individuals were crying. They were all wailing. Muftwang came to Lagos to meet the president. It is today that the vice president is visiting Plateau State. That, of course, Caleb is already there. The DSS, the NSA DG is also there. That's Nuhu Ribadu. Barrister Ezra, what is going on and why do these killings keep on happening and we're not hearing any apprehension of anybody? And some clerics, very prominent clerics that were quick to talk during the Kaduna bombing, they've been mute.
Well, thank you very much. The unfortunate thing in Nigeria is that we continue to prevaricate over issues and we do not call a spade a spade. What has been going on in Nigeria's Middle Belt region for well over 5 to 6 years now, it started and gained frenzy during the reign of Muhammadu Buhari, is ethnic cleansing of genocidal proportions. Simple. It is systemic, it is systematic, they know the target. The whole idea is to wipe out the indigenous population of these areas and replace them with so-called Fulani herdsmen. Because in all these communities, apart from the one in Plateau State,
yes,
the ones that happen in Benue, yes, and in all the Nassau area, when the indigenous peoples or indigenous owners of the land are killed, as they have been killed in this instance, the remnants will move into an IDP camp, and then Fulani herdsmen will take over their lands. So this is a systematic genocidal ethnic cleansing which has been going on. It is a disgrace to the Directorate of State Security, DSS, the military, and the police, who are supposed to have intelligence units. There is simply no way anybody can convince Nigerians or any reasonable person that a group of criminal terrorists go about in over 20 communities, killing, maiming, burning, and the security agencies do not have a clue as to what happened. Then at the end of the month, some people who are working in DSS or the military or the police will expect to get their salaries. Salaries for what? For being complicit in murder, for being complicit in genocidal killings. It is actually mind-boggling. Now, what to further insult the people of Plateau State, the victims of this ethnic cleansing? Who else did the government send but Kashim Shettima? This same Kashim Shettima, who is the vice president, when he was governor of Borno State, Kabiru Sokoto, a renowned terrorist who took part in the Christmas Day bombing of churches across the northern part of the country, was found in the residence, in the official premises of Kashim Shettima. And he is the person who is now being told to go and look at or to go and commiserate with the victims who have been killed by these same terrorists who were being harbored in Kashima Shettima's house. You see, when Nigerians were busy saying this Muslim ticket will not fly, this Muslim ticket of Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima will raise eyebrows, we are now seeing the eyebrows. And the eyebrows are very, very clear. When non-Muslims or Christians in this case are slaughtered, deliberately mowed down by Fulani headsmen, the government begins to prevaricate and talk all kind of crap. And when I say crap, I mean crap. But look at the reaction of the same government when military plane mistakenly killed some people, some Muslims who were gathering for a Muslim festival.
Yes,
the reaction was wild, that they should sack the chief of defense staff, sack this, sack that.
Yes.
And look at what has happened when fundamentalist terrorists, Islamic terrorists, go and kill over 160 people and counting. So it is unfortunate, and I only see wars happen because it's not the first time. If you recollect, when Buhari was in office, he told the people to even pray for that the Bible tells us to pray for our killers. We should pray for those who hate us. I remember the former Buhari's spokesperson was saying that what do we want? Do we want to our life or to give lands up? So that is what is continuing in this regime, and it's unfortunate. The issue is what has happened in Plateau State in the Christmas period has happened. Our question will be, which community will be next? Because this has been going on for damn too long. And the earlier Nigerians rise up and realize what they're up against. It is not sporadic killings. It is systematic ethnic cleansing with genocidal proportions. Go and ask those who have lost their communities in Benue State, in Nasarawa, in Taraba, in Plateau. And it's continuing. The victims are known. The perpetrators are also known. Have you ever heard of anybody being found, being even arrested or investigated? It is only after the killings. You will now see people like Ribadu, National Security Advisor,
yes,
all the army chiefs, they'll go there and try to calm nerves. What nerves are you calming? The nerves of the dead? The nerves, and they will go and do mop-up operations. They will take away the cutlasses, the implements of the native people in this land, and then a day or two after they've been taken away by the military, then you see these criminal jihadists come to kill them. And I just are talking of sporadic killings. It's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, Barrister Eze Eluche, because it feels like there are some people who do not really want to say. There are some very important people whom we expected to have reacted to these killings and say things the way they're meant to be said, who have kept mum. For Issa Pantami, the former communications minister, he said something that for now, the Plateau indigenes should remain calm and there should be no reprisal attacks because they cannot do with reprisal attacks. The governor too seems to be overwhelmed or possibly underwhelmed by the situation in Plateau State. According to him, he phrased it to be a land grabbing situation by some indigenes who are not ancestral settlers of this community who want to take over. And according to what Muftwan said that you don't come to a community that is not ancestrally yours. There are rules of engagement and there are protocols to go through, just like it happens in Lagos State. You don't come in a particular place and possibly your ethnic group dominates these communities, and then you think that these communities automatically needs to belong to you. Other people feel that it is the scarcity, or would I say the drought being experienced in the north and some areas of the north central that is causing this. So pastoralists are the ones that literally stay in that region, and there is more of farming and animal husbandry. And so some of these indigenes who basically their source of income is moving from one particular land to the other to feed their animals, most of their roots have gotten so dry, and so they have to encroach into other people's farmlands and then for their cows to feed. And this is basically what sprouts up, the crisis in Plateau State. But then, in reaction to this entire development, Barrister Eze, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, was one person who was so quick to react. And some Nigerians say that he has been quite responsive to national issues, especially as immediate as possible when these things happen. And they've referred to him that he is acting more like a president than President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Do you think that is true? The fact that he reacts to most of these issues as quickly as possible, does it mean that he's acting more of a president than Tinubu?
Well, let me, from your first question about what's the reaction of various government officials to the killings. Now, it is unfortunate that we don't mention names and say, pinpoint who the culprits are. Okay. The culprits are not unknown. They're not spurious human beings. It is not a farmer settlers clash. It is directly Fulani herdsmen who are allowed to be armed by the Nigerian state, who go in and kill the indigenous owners of land. How do I say this? Go to Benue, go to Plateau, go to all those other communities where there have been these genocidal killings in the past. The people who now occupy the lands after the original owners have been pushed or killed away are Fulani herdsmen. And they are there with their arms. So let us stop mentioning bandits or mentioning names as if we don't know the issues. The issues are very well known. And one of the things that exacerbated it was that comments by Nigerian government officials. I remember the current governor of Bauchi State, who once said any Fulani anywhere in the world is welcome to Nigeria as his homeland, which is utter nonsense. Because there are people who own those lands and you don't go and kill them just because you want to replace them. And this whole idea of their heading cows and all that stuff, is Nigeria the only place where they head cows? Don't they head cows in Ghana, in Niger, in Guinea? Is that how they go about killing? Or is it that the Nigerian state has a deep vested interest in the killing of some people? And then we can only believe that because throughout his almost 8 years stay in office, Buhari was intent on grabbing land and he kept on bringing out all manners of names to take people's lands away from them. Is that what Bola Tinubu will continue with his regime?
Well, other critics say the president seems to be more responsive than his predecessor. He has said that those who carried out this heinous crime should be apprehended as soon as possible. He has asked the Director General of the DSS to make sure that is what it takes place as soon as possible, and has asked that relief materials be sent to victims or relatives of those who died or who were killed in Plateau State. In fact, he sent the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs to ensure that something about that is done. So, the president seems to be more responsive.
Okay, without even listening to what Tinubu said, I can tell it's utter nonsense. The reason is this: the people who are supposed to have been aware of these killings are the ones you're now asking to go make arrests. I would not want to believe that the DSS is not aware when this band of terrorists gathered and began to kill in over 20 communities, or that the Nigerian police does not have the commissioner of police or AIG in that area, or that the Nigerian, the military, what are the military checkpoints in all those areas? What happened? Did they all disappear into the thin air? So all this talk about how many have been apprehended since the past almost 8 years when this killing begun? Zero. How many have been charged to court for this? Zero. And now we hear Mr. Ribadu saying that people should stop reprisal attacks. That is what usually happens after the killings by the Fulani herdsmen. The remnants of the natives are even further victimized, and the military goes to them, takes away all their implements, even the farmers, they take away their cutlasses, so that they become prey to further attacks. And somebody telling you will give relief. Relief of what? How do you give relief to a person who has lost his entire family, or a baby whose mother's neck was slashed while he was tied to her back? It is unfortunate. Look, this is going to get worse. That is what Nigerians have to realize, because we even have two people at the helm of affairs who Nigerians do not trust. We don't trust them because they were not elected by Nigerians. And I'm not surprised that the governor of Plateau State was busy in Lagos partying when these killings were going on, because who elected him in Plateau State? So we have a total disconnect between those who are the political leaders and the people. And the moment these killings continue, the people just have to find a self-help mechanism. Because like Chieftain once said, if we keep on waiting for this government will come to help people against these killers, people will be unnecessarily killed. It's time for people to realize that they have to arm themselves, because this kind of killings will continue. Okay, just so people these continue comments and response.
Yes.
If people keeps on responding to every malfeasance or every misdeed from this government, he will need to talk 25 hours in a day. He should take care of his health. There should be deputies, there should be other spokespersons to react to security issues, to react to health issues, education. Different issues have to have somebody who reacts to it, and not for Mr. Peter to react to every issue. That is how it is done in other civilized climes. Right. But as for this government, with this issue that's happening in Plateau State, the question should be which community will be next. And the problem most Nigerians have is when we hear it is happening in Plateau State, we keep quiet. Okay, it's in Plateau. I don't know anybody there. It is their problem. Now, guess what? The next place may be in Benue, in Nasarawa, in Ogun, in Imo, in Enugu. And then what do you do? So we should all take it upon ourselves that those people that were killed or slaughtered in Plateau State, in those 20 communities, could be your brother or mine. And we should be annoyed and take action. Any of this nonsense killing stop, the better. And we should call it by its proper name. It is not a sporadic bandit farmer herdsman clash. It is an organized, systematic ethnic cleansing of genocidal proportions, akin to what Israel is doing in Gaza against the Palestinians.
Barrister Ezewiche, thank you so much for your candid views on the issues raised on the World News at 6. I sincerely appreciate you taking your time to give us an in-depth perspective on this.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
You too, sir. And just before we wrap up, let's go to stories outside the shores of Nigeria. Michigan Supreme Court has refused to hear an appeal by voters in the U.S. state to disqualify Donald Trump from next year's presidential primary. They sought to invoke a clause in the U.S. Constitution barring anyone who has engaged in insurrection over Mr. Trump's role in the 2021 Capitol riots. The decision comes days after Colorado became the first state to rule that Mr. Trump was not an eligible candidate. Michigan is considered a battleground state in the 2024 general election. Traditionally voting Democrat, it supported Mr. Trump, a Republican, in the successful 2016 presidential campaign. Pro-democracy advocacy group Free Speech for People filed the lawsuit in September. But unlike in Colorado, the bid failed early on in the process, and the appeal to the Supreme Court was seen as having little chance of success. Courts in Michigan rejected the case on procedural